This question might be most for our youth specialists, Jay Warner and Brett. But I'm curious about how real you think this reported loss of young people in the church today is. That's definitely related to apologetics, and that some people think that they haven't been grounded in good answers. But first of all, how real is this purported loss?
Well, I think it's real. What the exact numbers are, it's hard to determine. So you've got some studies that put it at 50%, you got some studies that put it at 70, some at 80. I think anecdotally, we all know, we could probably survey everyone in here who would have different stories of young people they know that, not even when they've just gone off to college, but even in high school now. We all know somebody whose kids, maybe some of you who here have kids that have walked away, your family or friends have kids, there's kids in your church. We all know young people that have walked away. That was some of us for a period of time before we did come back. So what are the exact numbers? I don't know, but it's certainly, I think just from our experience, we know it's a real problem. In fact, the talk I'm going to do tomorrow morning is called Who's Waiting for Your Kids? After that talk, every single time I get multiple parents, adults who would come up to me and say, that was my kid that walked away, or my kid is in college right now, and they're just going through all this tremendous doubt. What are the exact numbers? I think it's difficult to determine, but I think it is definitely a real problem.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think anecdotally, we both know from working as youth pastors, we know that in our own youth ministries, we saw this happen. We saw that young people were walking away. And what disturbs me the most is, I don't care what number you're looking at in terms of your survey. The numbers vary, like you said. But I think it is real. And when you survey why young people are leaving, it's always the same. The people leave for the majority reason, when left in an open question format, is that they have intellectual skepticism, doubt. They don't believe it's true anymore. But sadly, when they return, and Lifeway says about 30% will return to the church anyway, it could be higher. But when you survey them, why are you coming back? I'm looking to see, well, okay, do you now believe it's true? That's not what they say. The largest reason for why they return is because they want to raise their kids in the church. So what you have is not only that we have young people leaving the church, but those who come back are forever changed. They're sitting in our churches, and they aren't committed to what we believe. And I think for me, I'm very committed. I'm 52. People my age are not leaving the church, folks. They are, but not the kind of numbers we're seeing for young people. I do apologetics. I do Christian case making, and that's the audience. I wrote Cold Case Christianity because Sean and I were teaching this to high schoolers. And he said, you should write a book about that. And I said, I don't think I have time, But it was designed for young people. We can raise the bar on young people and teach them this stuff. And I honestly think that the future of Christian case making should have one audience in mind: young people. Amen. And that 14 to 30, that's where the damage has occurred. That's where we're losing numbers. Those are the people who are no longer convinced it's true. And so I'm committed, like Brett is, to making sure that audience is always in my target.
Yeah, if you want a good feel for where our young people are at, you should read the book Soul Searching by Christian Smith. Christian Smith is a sociologist. He was at University of North Carolina. He's now at Notre Dame. He did a major study with it was a national study of youth and religion, a very in-depth study where they really attempted to find out where are our young people at in their kind of spiritual and religious lives. And that book just gives you a very good feel for where they're at. And I'll share a couple of the findings in that book tomorrow.
Good. Yeah, I wanted to jump off of Jay Warner's comment and actually to pat him on the back a little bit, because he said something a number of years ago about this whole thing about youth that really stuck with me, and I've repeated it a number of times because I think it's so powerful for those of you who have contact with youth or maybe youth leaders and the like. I don't like talking to youth personally. To me, it's kind of like talking to a painting, and I like people responding to me. I could tell a joke that makes the adults are falling in the aisle, and the kids are just looking at me like, we're not going to laugh at you, mister, that kind of thing. So I'm glad I got guys that are really committed to that, because I really believe in the strategic importance of it. It's not my thing, it's not my niche, but we believe in that at Stand to Reason. This is why we're giving time, attention, effort, resources to that enterprise. Here's what Jim said a number of years ago that really stuck with me. And it's based on his own experience of working with youth leaders, youth groups, as a leader himself, and being frustrated with the results. And the way I recall it, Jim, is you said you came to a point where you just said, doggone it, I am tired of throwing candy at these kids. From now on, here's my job. My job is to make sure that after these kids are with me for 4 years in my youth group, and he was a layperson at the time, but he was doing youth work, that when they're done after 4 years with me, they never leave Christ. Boy, can you imagine what would happen to our youth if youth leaders around the country said, I'm tired of throwing candy at these kids. It's my job to be a pastor to them and disciple them so that 4 years after they leave me, they never leave Jesus.
Bravo.
I hope I got that right, Jim, because I've been telling that story all over the country.
It always sounds better.
good.
It sounds better when you tell it anyway. So.